Hi, Dr. Lisa Thompson here, and I'm coming to you from my home office outside of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and welcome to Lessons in Leadership, where we're discussing principles and concepts to expanding our influence to do more and be more for the people we serve. In today's episode, we are unpacking the quote from Henry Adams. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. This applies to leadership as well. Why is that? Because teaching and leading are symbiotic. I'm going to share with you a personal story of how a woman named Gypsy taught me this lesson of influence, and it impacted not only my practice as a speech-language pathologist, but it also became the impetus for my doctoral dissertation and still resonates with me today as a leader and entrepreneur. As I mentioned a few episodes earlier, my first experiences working as a speech-language pathologist in the healthcare setting started in 2003 when I worked in nursing homes. The first nursing home I worked at was a facility in Minneapolis, in the worst part of town, whose residents had mental illness ranging from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder to Alzheimer's, dementia, and other psychoses. Their behaviors were so challenging that the traditional nursing homes did not have the training nor the staff to handle them, and this facility became the place of last resort before going to a mental hospital. The nursing staff, housekeeping, and food services employees had many years of experience working here, between 10 and 20 years, and they really looked out for their residents and were protective of them. They saw them as extensions of their family. Now, there was high attrition rates among the therapy staff. They could not retain any therapists because many therapists were afraid of the residents' behaviors and didn't know how to look beyond those behaviors to treat them. In 2003, I arrived along with my physical therapy colleague, Beth, and we had challenges in the beginning working at that facility, ranging from the nursing staff not trusting us because they felt that we weren't going to stay around for long, and then dealing with the resident behaviors. But Beth and I were unreasonable. We both had a shared belief that everyone has the right to live the highest quality of life they can, regardless of age, sex, culture, or mental health status. We kept asking each other, what can we do to reach these residents? Then in 2004, we received a referral from nursing, a woman named Gypsy. Now, this is not her real name. She was the most challenging resident in the facility. She was 85 years old, 5-foot-tall, schizophrenic, frail woman who spoke gibberish and was physically aggressive. In fact, it took 4 policemen to get her into a gurney when she had to go into a hospital, and she always wore a hospital gown and slipper socks, as nobody was able to dress her. To manage her behaviors, nursing would have to inject shots containing 3 different drugs that would make her walk like a drunk and fall. Now, that's not living a high quality of life. She was referred to our therapy department to see what we could do to help her walk and communicate better. Beth and I decided to work together to put our skills to use to see if we could get a different result than working with her separately. We had to think outside of the box. And the first thing we did is we began to find out more about her and what was her story. In her room, we discovered that when she was younger, she did light housekeeping work and loved using terry cloth towels. We decided the best way to approach her was to communicate into her versus at her, and we did this through touch. Beth worked on massaging her feet, and I introduced terry cloth towels. The next treatment session, we found a purple terry cloth Beanie Baby teddy bear. And as Beth was working on her feet, I distracted Gypsy by presenting her with the bear. All of a sudden, Gypsy's face broke out into a smile, and she said, "Nick." We asked her, who was Nick? And she said, "He looks like relations." This was the first time Gypsy uttered a completely coherent sentence. Later that afternoon, the recreation activities assistant came over and said, "What did you do to Gypsy?" I said, "What did you mean?" She said, "I saw Gypsy with the bear, and I asked Gypsy, 'Who gave you the bears?' She replied, 'The 2 girls downstairs did. They're awfully good to me.'" I was so happy and excited when I heard this that I immediately found Beth and told her the news. And at that point, we realized that we needed to keep working with her because we were doing something right. 2 weeks later, Gypsy was able to trust us enough that Beth was able to get her to sit on a Swiss ball. That's a big therapy ball to help work on her body strength and balance. While Gypsy was on the ball, I was playing catch with her with a balloon. Suddenly, Gypsy leans back into Beth like a child would do with her mother, and this was seen as a sign that she really began to trust us. And at that moment, the housekeeping supervisor walked by, took one look at us, and said, "You guys are good." We now have the staff's attention. By the time we were done working with Gypsy in May of 2004, and that was a total of 3 months, we taught the staff how to communicate into her where she was compliant in getting dressed, combing her hair, and she started giving hugs to staff. But the best part was, for a period of 7 months, staff did not have to give her any shots with those 3 different drugs to manage her behavior. She was also able to self-regulate her behaviors by taking terry cloth towels and folding them when she was agitated. During this period, she had no falls as well. Staff now trusts us and began to give us more referrals. We began to train them more. Soon we had the attention of other floors, and then the department heads, and then the company. This little facility in the worst part of Minneapolis with the most challenging patients, we started receiving awards. That all became because Beth and I were unreasonable. The facility closed in 2005 and Gypsy passed away in 2007. But it is always this story that touches my heart in a very big way. It taught me how to really be someone for someone, and how influence just starts with one person. One person being unreasonable and disturbed enough to try something different to reach that goal, to be someone for someone. What are you going to do today to grow your influence? What are you going to do to reach out and touch somebody in a deep way? How can you be someone for someone? Are you willing to challenge your assumptions and think outside the box to communicate into people? The only way to start growing your influence is to start taking action. Every journey begins with a single step, and take it now. If you found today's information valuable, please leave a comment and share. And if you would like to know more information on leadership, mindset, and other strategies to help you be someone for someone, stop by my blog at drlisamthompson.com and make sure you subscribe to this podcast by clicking on the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's show, Lessons in Leadership, My Story of Gypsy, and I will talk to you tomorrow.